Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. No, I need to change my mic. Always something. The brow. Okay. So I'm just going to fix that and we should be good. Okay. Next time, we know not to use speakers because it seems to have echo. All right, here we are. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Plastic Hype. So every 2 weeks, we go over some interesting projects that I found, or of course, anything to do with Warhammer Age of Sigmar, because I'm a real big fan at the moment. If it's Warhammer um, and it's cool, I'm probably going to be hyped about it. So I want to share those. And if I find cool deals I think you'll miss out, or really good projects you might miss out on, I will focus a few minutes on that. And then there's a hobby tip side at the end, and then a shout out to the community. Back to the people who give so much into this hobby. Just a little bit of John giving back to the community. All right, so thank you for joining us. If you're joining us live or watching us later, thank you. Our channel, Level of the Leaves, we do unboxing, playthroughs, and other type of miniature game videos. That's good for the soul, good for the family. I do it with my son. In fact, we're playing a bit of Great War from Awakened Realms today. Really good fun. So yeah, here we go. All right, so today I have prepared a little bit of a deck to help us out. So let's get on with it. I'm going to share now. And in fact, going forward, we might use a pre recorded session because I've just learned the internet isn't the greatest here. And I don't want our technical problems to be an issue for the future. So there you go. That's for the future. Alrighty. So I I made a little intro video because I think it's fun, so I'm gonna show that first. All right, welcome, plastic. Let's go over what we've prepared today. Okay, of course, something always go wrong live. All right, I promise we get better every week. All right, here we go. Let's start the show. Okay, so the thing that got me most interested, I've got on the front page, and on the background, we've got a squad from Caradron Overlord. It's from Age of Sigmar. Now, what does it refer to is the first topic we're going to cover, which is Regiment of Renown. And then at the bottom right, the next thing I'm most excited about is the Tainted Grail late pledge, which is open, and I want to cover that. I've already pledged it when it was originally running in the campaign, but now it's open for everybody. So I strongly recommend you to go with that. If you like thematic games, especially if it's a story-driven one, do check that out. All right, first, Regiment of Renown. Now that's a big thing in Age of Sigmar Warhammer this week because Games Workshop have just released the pricing for these units, and of course the rules are also released on their webpage absolutely for free. You can go to the Warhammer community. Clearly, that's where I've got all these pictures from. Yep. Warhammer community. Um, now, a quick word to those of us who play but have not yet heard about this. Well, you might have been too busy this week. Otherwise, you might have seen it around the web. Everyone's talking about it. It's good content. I'm not going to cover them in details as some of the other content creators are doing, but I guess there's a few key messages I want to highlight. The first one is, um, first, each of these pictures represent one unit of Regiment of Renown that Games Workshop is releasing for a box for Warhammer Age of Sigmar. So you don't have to buy these boxes. You can play the rules without paying for new things. So, for example, in the back here, on the top right, we have some 2 units of 3 gut rippers, and then a kill bow, beast killer kill bow. Now, if you have those units, you can just play them straight away with this special rule without buying new ones. So I think that's cool. Now, for people who don't have units, yes, they can buy the whole unit outright without buying other things. Alright? Now, what I mean by that is usually in Age of Sigmar, you acquire units well, there's probably 3 ways to do it. The first way is you do what I do sometimes, go on the secondhand market to pick up stuff, because if you're not sure, that's the best way to get a good deal. So you can either go to the secondhand market or you can go to shops, and when you go to shops, you either buy a big box, um, so better value overall, but it comes with stuff that you may not need, right? Or you can buy the individual boxes, which can be quite expensive if you're going for a particular build. Now, talking about particular build, let's go with this example again with the True Boys, because they've got 2 units of the Manskiller Blue Boys, and if you buy 2 boxes of them by themselves, that is quite expensive. So you're looking at like $70 for one. But if you buy a box like Dominion, uh, half for the Crew Boys in the marketplace right now, you can probably pick them up for 70 to $100 Australian, and you get a whole bunch of other plastic besides the ones that you want. So I think that is a really good way to go. Now, in this case, what's so interesting is they've packed up these units in a way, I guess, kind of together. This is a weird one. Not gonna go through too much of the rules, but if you want this particular unit, getting a box would probably be a better picking up big box and then getting 1 unit out of that box or buying them individually. So that's worth it. Now the other thing is, after doing a bit of research, on the game GW store, GW Games Workshop store, on the individual units versus the package units, somehow, I don't know why they did it this way, somehow not all of them are a good deal, which means if you buy them separately, it pretty much adds up to be the same than, if you buy this box set. So, I mean, there's no science there. Now that you know, if you do go and purchase these units, make sure you do a little bit of homework to check, yes, for this particular pack, is it gonna be cheaper if you buy it outright? Or, I mean, if you buy it as a combo, they have all the units you require for Regiment of Renown in the box, buy them separately, 'cause not in all cases is a good deal, right? I think the Crew Boys one is, but, this one in front, I think it looks really cool. Apparently is a real bad deal. So I'll let you work that out if you're interested in these. I guess the key message is super cool, but don't jump into them and buy these promotional boxes because, somehow, for some reason, these just happens to be a bad deal here. Alright, next, the Caradron Overlords are out this weekend, so I think you can pre-order them since yesterday. Am I gonna order them? Josh, if you're watching, no, I'm not. Um, I don't really like dwarves in Warhammer. Not to offend anybody because I think they look cool, but that's just not for me. But yes, they're out. So I have watched a couple of other content creators on YouTube talking about these units. I think some of them are fun. As I was going through them, um, because I've never played them. Okay, first I've never played them. Why this release is exciting is because with this new release, I got a feeling more people are gonna play them, which means I get to play against them, and that's cool. And one of the coolest thing I know about them, without knowing too much about the army, is they have these concepts of these ships. They call them they've got a special keyword for them, and then for the units with the keyword Skyfarer, they can board the ships. So they can essentially go into garrison of a ship and shoot stuff, and they move in the ship. And then what's going through my head, I remember I was doing the dishes and while I was listening to the War Scrolls, and I was thinking the whole time, "What if there are 10 units moving in the ship, and then you kill the ship, do all the units die?" Right? Like in StarCraft or something. You load up a whole drop ship with troopers or tanks, and then that explodes, what happens? Well, in this case, if they can't be placed, on the board, 3 inches from where the ship exploded, they die, or if they roll a 1, So for each unit that's in the ship, when a ship explodes, you roll a dice for each of them. If you get a 1, then that unit dies. I think it's kind of cool. I was hoping for 2, but okay, 1 will do, I guess. Yeah, so KO are out. Next, away from Warhammer now, because life is not just all Warhammer. Uh, this is a crowdfunded project over at a Kickstarter. So I think it's super cool. So this is from Dwarven Forge. They are a company that specializes in making terrain, as far as I know. Yeah, they can make other stuff as well, but I've learned about them about 3 years ago on Kickstarter when they were launching another campaign with terrains that are fully magnetizable. So every bit you see there on the screen right now, I think most of them just clip together in a very satisfying click using magnets. So I think it's super cool. So, like for example, in the starter set in the middle, you you have the floor plan, I guess, floor plan view. You can manipulate with the stuff inside, and then you can put um, walls and roofs on them. I think that's very cool. Now, why I've put this all together and why is it in this episode of Plastic Hype is because I think it's really cool. I'm really hyped about these. But am I gonna get them? Probably not. And that's why we have to look at some of the screenshots I took on the right-hand side here. If I can draw your attention to the first big bubble there. It's $590 um, for this landmark pledge, and then, of course, you can go double landmark. Now, I started with landmark because I think if you go with a system like this, you probably wouldn't just get a room. Well, maybe you could. I mean, I wouldn't, right? If you invest in the system, you probably want to build a world, or at least a town in this case. You wouldn't just get, like, a house like what we have on the left-hand side here. So if you did, you're looking for 590 USD. Of course, you probably want them painted. Most of us want them painted. Some of us are crafters and really good at painting things, painting everything, with a lot of time on hand. Some of us do not have that. So if you buy it, think it's reasonable to assume you might want them painted. Um, yeah. Otherwise, you might be building your own and paint them that way. Way cheaper, but it takes way longer. Now, 590 is this killer mark. I think is way too expensive. But is it cool? Oh yeah. Is it too expensive for me? Oh yeah. So yeah. But it doesn't end there. Okay. So look at what I've got. Just taking a screenshot of this. If you want a bigger version of this, yes, you did not read that wrong. It's $2,390 USD, and that's before shipping. I'm gonna let that sink in for a moment. Yeah. So you better be hosting some amazing games or as a for a special hobby project that you might be running. But anyway, these are very cool, so it's worth. All right. Next, we've got Homeworld Command. Now, why I have this is because Homeworld back probably 20 years, 20 years ago. I can't remember when it first came out. It felt like 25 years ago. I'm giving my age away here. Um, it's not a secret, by the way. This game was so cool. It was one of the first games where it's total 3D immersion. So yeah, you really feel like you're in space. It's not a 3D isometric view like in StarCraft. It's fully 3D. You can turn the camera any angle you like, and to watch hundreds, hundreds of little these tiny spaceships flying in different formations, bombing stuff, dogfighting each other, blowing things into orbit. It was so satisfying. Now, they have a Kickstarter game now. This is on Kickstarter. You can still back it at the time of the recording. I've no doubt they probably have late pledge coming out later if you miss it. So what do you get for it? You get the basic game with the screenshot I've taken here. Lots of components. Well, why would you back it now as opposed to buy it in retail? You get a bit of extra goodie, right? So there's kind of summarized here. You get some tokens, um, excuse me, some whew, some exclusive plastic. You do get some cards and some exclusive furniture, and then you've got, yeah, some PDFs. PDFs, I don't know, but I think if you're into space battle board games, this does look very cool. Now, in contrast to the last project I talked about, this one's approximately, like, let's say $85. Yeah, just put things into context. Whew. Yeah, so I think this is gonna be cool. If you're gonna back it, I think it's in the last 4 hours now as of the time of recording, so if you're watching live, this seems interesting to you, you might wanna back it or, yeah, catch it on late pledge later. Next up, we've got Ascension Tactics Inferno. So this is actually round 2 of Ascension Tactics. Last year, not long ago, last year, yeah, okay, we're only in March. So last year they finally delivered this, but the project was, of course, a few years back on Kickstarter. They attempt to take the card game, which is one of the first card games I've ever played on iOS. Yeah, into this world of 3D miniature skirmish combat with cards. Of course, there are things that you build just like the card game. So you can see some tokens here down on the screen where you actually do have some mechanics where you build up, you ramp up your army, you build your engine to get resources to call more heroes. I think that's kinda cool. Now, it's worth noting, even though it's nothing to do with this video, a channel that I used to watch a lot, Dice Tower with Tom Vessel, um, Ascension's Tactics was one of his top games, um, last year in this category. So now they're doing it again, I think it's worth, mentioning. Now, what is interesting here, I think it's also worth noting is what's the version what's the difference between the version of you buy it now from Kickstarter versus if you get it in retail? Because retail is always a bit safer, and you don't have to pay for crazy shipping because you're paying for local retailer distribution. In Australia here, it's typically $8 to $10 versus a lot. So you do get these exclusive miniatures, and they say you get 50 of them, right? So I've kinda got a screenshot of what they may look like, and, yeah. And so that's cool. People who like miniature gaming, I think that's cool, and it starts the pledges from 60, which I think is very reasonable, and then if you get the minis with them, you essentially double the price or double plus a bit because I guess you're getting a lot of miniatures. I don't know what the quality of the miniatures are, but they do look very, which is good because you don't, if you pay that much for minis, you don't want your board to be swamped with very similar miniatures, and then you've gotta remember whose miniature belongs to who, because, I mean, if they're the same and it's gray, you're gonna have some problems to, recognize whose they are. But if they're unique, that's cool. Now, I do have one concern about this. Besides I'm excited, I also gotta share my concerns, which is if I have a board game and I'm about to play this skirmish, in this case, I am thinking in the game, you can use up to all of these miniatures potentially. So it's not like you draft 7, you probably have all of these because they're all on the deck, right? So then therefore, you would play your big board, yeah, on your table with all these cards and components, all that, and then you need to set aside 50 separate miniatures on the side of your table, and then hopefully you can find the right miniature as you play. I'm not so sure about that. And I raised this because there are some people who's getting really excited and want to go all in. If you can see the full tactic owl assault there, full tactical owl assault. So you'll be paying for the original one plus the new one. So you'll be getting a lot of miniatures. Now, a lot of miniatures is probably a good thing, but in this case, is it really 100 unique miniatures set aside on the board for you to call them up when you play them? I don't know. I don't know. So that's something to think about. Otherwise, I think this book is cool. Very cool. Reasonable price as a follow-up to one of the amazing underdogs from last year. So, okay, move on to our next one. Tainted Grail, Kings of Ruin, and of course, the Fall of Avalon. I'm showing the picture on here on the top left. In fact, we should publish that review Levi and I did a while ago after we finished the Tainted Grail campaign last time. So what is Tainted Grail? Tainted Grail is a story-driven narrative game with role-playing and tactical elements into it. It's really epic in the sense of building the world, building the story. Everything's beautiful, maybe except the story because it's kinda grim, but it's grimly beautiful. It's very nicely written. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but anyway, it's really cool, except it's a bit dark. Yep. I mean, the story is a bit dark. Lots of bad things happen to good people, um, but it's great. It's great. Now, I've highlighted here, this campaign received the funding of 7.5 million Australian dollars. I think they got 5 million pounds or something like that, something close to that. That's how good it is. Now, why am I bringing this up and hype about it is, like I mentioned way earlier at the beginning of the video, you can now purchase on Kickstarter. So instead of buying a very expensive version of this game, inflated, uh, pricing version later on when people eventually get this, you can get it now, and you can get a lot of goodies with them. So of course you get all the stretch goals, which in this game, it adds a lot of value. So they don't I mean, if you go with Tainted Grail, the first version of I mean, not the first version, the first release in this universe from Awakened Realms, the, stretch goals added probably 60 to 80 hours of extra content for I guess in this case for free because you're backing it. Wow. Well, I didn't say 6 and made it 60 by mistake. It's actually about 60 to 80 hours. So, is it worth it? I think so. Yeah. So yeah, if you like it, do get into this now. So it's on late pledge. You can check out what they have on GameFound. Yeah. See, I mean, I couldn't take all the videos onto my presentation today, but if you do like this kind of stuff, it's worth checking out 5 minutes to see whether you like a strong story-driven game with beautiful artwork, amazing miniatures, and a beautifully crafted story. I mean, there weren't many parts of the super long campaign that we did. I think it was about 50 hours, maybe, right? We spent 50 hours on it. Um, they really weren't many parts where I thought, "Oh, they just they just slapped that together and forced the story out that way because they couldn't think of a better idea or couldn't think of a way out." Everything kinda made sense and it builds on each other, so if you did something in the first act, you might come back in act 5 and go, "Oh, I shouldn't have done that," or, "We did that, and this happened now," so it's very cool, very cool. Okay, so that is Ingrail, Kings of Ruin by Awaken Rings. What do we got next? That's right. So, worth noting, this is all from the same company, Awaken Realms. So, Awaken Realms Next is they publish a few games. The two of them I like. They've got another one called Stalker. I'm not so sure about that one yet. I don't know anything about it. So I wouldn't put it on the show this week. But what we do have is Nemesis Retaliation. Now that's as much as we know, right? Right on the page right now, that's the only info they have, because I guess it is gonna come out in Q4 in 2023, which is this year. We are 6 months away, so I'm excited about that. Now, what is cool about Nemesis is, they came up with Nemesis, which is the name of the ship, um, and it has a really strong feeling of, like, Alien. Yep. Grim, dark, horror, easy to die, really easy to die. You bump into one of the intruders, aliens, you get ripped to pieces or something can grow out of you. Ooh, amazing. We did a couple of playthroughs here on our channel, Levi. It's really good, except for one of my colleagues. Everyone I've played with, the Nemesis game, they all loved it. Yep. And one of the friends I played with, we had a good time, and he taught us that, because me and Levi didn't read the rules properly, we were actually playing on hard mode, but we still have a blast. It's like we lose, but we have a lot of fun, losing, like, with the ship exploding or whatnot. We have fun when we lose. Now, why did I go out of the way to say all of that? I think Nemesis is a fantastic, fantastic IP. for Awaken Realms. They came up with Nemesis Lockdown. I think we received last year. It's also very good, but I guess it's not as amazing as the first Nemesis because yeah, it just wasn't, but it was still good. Now with the new one coming out, I think it's worth checking it out if you do like this type of game, which is survival, horror, co-op, semi-co-op, like it's kind of cooperative. You want to work together to get to the same goal that benefits both of us, but in some cases, my goal and your goal might go a different direction. So we have to keep our friends close and our enemy closer. Oh, it's really cool. All right. Next one on the right here, we've got Dragon Eclipse. We don't know too much about this game, except it's also going to be a strongly story-driven game. It's designed for solo and two-player game, which is perfect for me and my son. So I really look forward to that. They say they have got a deck building aspect to the game. Who knows what that means? It could be, yeah, don't really know. It could be anything. But I like the fact that it's this strongly story-driven game for 1 or 2 people. That is really on my category, and it's dragons, so it's gonna be good, right? Alright, next. What else we got? Uh, Now we did talk about this in the previous, roundup show of Plastic Hype. I think this is cool because now late pledge is on. I think I mentioned it before, so I won't go to all the details again, for the people who missed it. So there's 2 things goes from uh Duncan Road, and besides the fact that he created a lot of gossip storm over for what he's doing in Games Workshop, how some people claim he is the sole reason why Games Workshop have replaced all their painting videos from a personal presenter to a pair of hands with no face. I trying to get it on camera, but that's not working very well. So anyway, he's he's a famous celebrity in the miniature painting world, and I think these set of paints look very cool. Now, if you buy them in the pledge, it's going to work. It's going to work out a lot cheaper. Now, I'm directing this message to some new painters, right? Not pro painters, because I'm not at that level. I can't speak on their behalf, but on the perspective of new painter, here, sir, I've got a bottle of paint in front of my face. I'm trying to get into the camera so it wouldn't be blocked out. Okay, so this bottle of paint, standard bottle. In this case, it is a contrast paint, and I've got some standard paint. All right, so that's what this looks like. This bottle of paint, unless you use it as a base color for your entire army, this bottle might last you 4 years. Now, why am I saying that? Is I actually have a bottle of paint here. Okay, it's not within my reach. I'm gonna try my best to grab it. Okay, I've got a bottle of paint here. Retributor, retro, Retributor Gold Armor. Right, this is a gold paint. One bottle of this, after painting 4,000 points of Stormcast army, it's still not finished. I mean, it's getting close to empty, but it's still not finished. So my point, my message to you, what I'm trying to get at, is if you buy good quality paint from a good company, which means it's some paint that you'll like to use for a long time, it will last a long time. So one bottle of these paint can last you years. So therefore, if you're in the marketplace looking for paint, or you're looking for new sets of paint so you can get the whole system, there's always benefits to that. This is a great time to get into it because it's a lot cheaper than buying them separate. So there you go. Enough said, because we covered it in the last one. If you missed it, do go back to our last Plastic Hype roundup, which is episode 1. All right, this is the episode 3 today. Okay, now, last but not least, now that we've gone through all the projects, I want to give a shout out to the community. So up to this part of the show, I'd like to give back, shout out back to the community, and I want to point all of you guys who's watching this, if you like Age of Sigmar, Warhammer, do check out EOS Coach if you don't know him already. He's a big name in the EOS community here in Australia. I met him in person down at Dice Arcade a couple of times. Seems like a real nice guy. Yeah, he seems really down to earth. Anyway, this is not about him personally, just talking about his content. I think his content is fantastic. Yes, you can see from the screenshot, I am subscribed, and, yeah, I'm in his membership just to show a bit of appreciation because he presents battle tomes and things to do with, war scrolls and rules, in my perspective, really well. He'll spend a long time building a comprehensive deck to talk about things, and he talks in a pace that is very easy to understand. So I mean, I guess I'm working up towards that. But anyway, the point is, if you like Age of Sigmar, you like this kind of stuff, do check out his content. I think it's worthwhile, and it could be one of the best ways to get prepared for Age of Sigmar events because if you know your opponent's army without them having to explain all the minute details to you, you've got one leg up. All right, now I've got a quick tip we've got this week for you is if you are in the marketplace looking for plastic glue, because this is a series about plastic tape, we deal with plastic a lot. There are a few versions of glues you can get. Of course, you can get them from Games Workshop or other companies with big long metal sticks that I don't like. So I'm not even going to show them. Why show you things that I am not endorsing? What I do want to bring your attention to are these two goodies. You can see that. Okay. Well, the background is taking these bottles out. Now, can you see them? They are the Tamiya cement and Tamiya extra thin cement. You can Google extra thin cement or Tamiya cement. I don't know why I always thought it was Tamaya, but anyway, this Tamiya. Yeah, Tamiya cement. Now, what makes them cool? The first thing is the way you how you apply this is I'm gonna try to open this bottle without making a huge mess on myself. Now, this is a brush applicator, and this I don't know if the camera can see this, is super thin. Maybe can't see it, alright? So I'm gonna have to change my tactic here and, take out my amazing virtual background because otherwise you can't see, alright? So, this brush is really, really thin. So what does that do then? Because this brush is so thin, it allows you to put your plastic glue into crevices or very fine areas without over applying the glue. Now that is important because if you put a big blob of glue on your plastic, it will stay that way when it dries, and you don't want that. And you want ways to control your glue. This is so good. These brush applicators are genius. And I don't know if you guys have ever experienced this before, but if you use GW plastic glue, I have no problem with them except the way they come in, which is a bottle with a stick. So you just tip and squeeze. Yep. What is not cool about that is that tube gets stuck. So the plastic glue somehow blocked that tube, and then after I don't know, for a lot of us who's not super expert in the hobby, you might spend 15 minutes cutting your sprue and getting things ready, and when you want to do it, well, you can't glue them because your glue wouldn't come out from your stupid glue applicator. Now, if you have this though, by the way, this is not endorsed, yeah, they definitely didn't pay me a cent to say this, although it would be nice if they did. This is so much better. Now, I have 2 bottles here. One is the extra thin one, which is the green one I've been waving around before, and then there's a white one just, called Tamiya Cement. So this one, the brush is way bigger. I don't know if you can see here, the brush is way bigger. So that means you can apply a lot more glue in the same amount of time. So this one for super fine details, and this one I found it's been working really well on bigger miniatures or terrains or things like that. So save your money. This costs less or equal to a Games Workshop plastic glue. and I think this is gonna last me way longer, and I've had no bad experience using this so far. So, there you go. Speak nonstop for half an hour. Well, hope you enjoyed that. If you did, it would be much appreciated to give us a like or subscribe. That would really help out the channel because we're doing this for the love of the hobby and giving back to the community. We didn't get anything from this, and it'll be great, and we can spread the love to more people. That's it. And yes, did I cover what you think was missing? Or did I cover what you also was hyped about? I'd love to hear about that. If you have any comments, yeah, do keep them in the chat. I try and read all of them. Lately, there hasn't been too many questions, so not much to read. So yeah, give me something to read and we can talk that way. All right. Once again, this is Plastic Hype Show, and I'm John from Live Off the Lease. Do check out some of our other videos and playthrough and reviews. I've got one coming with Levi on unboxing the Great Wall. We've just done that, and I mentioned we have recorded a Grail review video that we've still yet to do, and I'm finishing up my Dice Arcade competition video from 2 weeks ago now. Yes, I still haven't finished cutting it. I didn't realize how much effort it takes to put into cutting a, I don't know, 15-minute battle rep video. Whew. Well, practice is good. Anyway, thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.